Hello, I am Tam the TamBoTC channel, and today I wanted to talk about this. I saw a video that I was going through, I actually commented on it, but I try to make sure not to do too big of comments as I usually do, but I just did a kind of short and sweet one that was just like, yeah, Batman's overrated, but for good reason. I should have said reasons, plural, but kind of like what I'm going to go into this video. And then I think I added only one other thing to that in that comment was that I just kind of went, yeah, Batman's overrated, but for good reason. Also, how dare you? And then lol. Laugh out loud. Or laugh out your ass. No. But with Batman, I'm definitely a big fan of Batman, though definitely not the biggest. I know there's some big collector out there that legitimately has everything. But I think being the fan to the level I am is still good enough. And not everybody can afford that kind of stuff, as well as there are probably certain things that people, as a fan of something, would want. So, even the biggest fan has too much to prove. But I think just enough is right. Just right. It's not too much, it's not too little. I'm right in the middle, pretty much. But I do have a lot of goddamn Batman stuff, so I don't know if I'm quite the person to talk about this. Also, I found my Dark Knight DVDs as well, Dark Knight Rises. I didn't get to show those in the previous DVD collection video, because I was digging through my bins trying to look for Action Comics #1, because I don't know where I stored them, and for some reason I can't find that goddamn thing. I know I stored it somewhere where I wanted to keep it safe, but for some reason I can't find where that somewhere was. And I want to show it on the channel. It is a reprint. It's not necessary, but I still keep it near and dear to me, just like my Detective Comics #27. So actually, I can see my Detective Comics #27 from here. But still, I grew up with I grew up in the 90s, so I grew up with like the Batman animated series and all that. And I played the Batman Arkham games when they came out. There's a lot of reasons why Batman, and every series is going to have their fumbles and successes and stuff. Not everything is perfect. Not everyone is perfect. So there's a reason why Batman's so popular or so overrated, though. I think for good reason in his case, honestly. There's so many iconic moments, whether it be with his villains or with him himself, whether it be the story of the Nightfall series where Bane breaks the bat, or something as big as the Death of the Family, or Death of the Family, that's another thing. Some of just the ridiculous things that Joker has done in general, from the Killing Joke to previously mentioned book Death in the Family, to him having his own face ripped off or whatever and wearing it, to him having a glass eye in this Joker series where he kind of works side by side in a way with Commissioner Gordon. There's a lot of things too, like really good Batman movies that not only define superhero movies and give them, though there's also Batman kind of killed itself with Joel Schumacher movies. But we do kind of look back at those movies as movies we watch a lot but don't like, or where they're so bad that they're hilarious. So there's like different ways people look at those movies, and there's so many good Batman movies. We had Christopher Nolan bring them back to life with Batman Begins, and one of the biggest movies is Dark Knight. And I love The Dark Knight Rises, even though I know Nostalgia Critic doesn't, but I have a lot of reasons why I love that movie. I do agree with some of the points he makes, though. But yeah, he's had so many great moments and movies, so many great villains. He's got one of the best and most iconic rogues gallery. He's got some freaking awesome ass costumes, some awesome games, though some bad games as well, no doubt. I can't remember that. So what is that series called? It's Just Bad series, where they looked over the some of the Batman, like Dark Tomorrow, and also Superman doesn't have a very good run of games. And honestly, they kind of screw over Batman a little in the Zack Snyder verse, in my opinion, because he has, even though he's my favorite part, and I do think Ben Affleck was actually not bad as Batman. I kind of want to see him done more justice, ironically, and they didn't really do that, and they ruined him absolutely in some of the worst DC movies, in my opinion, from Batman v Superman, really bad, can't even watch that frickin' movie, to the first Suicide Squad movie, to, what is that, even the Flash movie with some of the most horrible CGI I've ever seen. The only reason you're going to watch it is like Michael Keaton's Batman returning, but ironically, again, with the name. Some of my favorite movies come out of Batman: The Dark Knight, Batman Returns. Absolutely love Batman Returns. I do love Batman 89, but I prefer Returns. Love how dark those movies are, too. Tim Burton is just fantastic for that universe. From really awesome comic books, all sorts of different interpretations. Even in comic books, there's some terrible frickin' versions of like Batman and Joker and all that. Like, I don't like the New 52 Nightwing, honestly. There's even edgier Nightwings too. What else? The Dragon Tattoo Joker, frickin' awful. I think that's Dark Knight Returns as well. I mean, my friend were talking about that not long ago, like being one of the worst Jokers. What else is there? Man. Somehow though, even though, what is that guy's name? I just had it on the top of my in my head, because we were talking about that guy. He's the guy that did he actually did some good stuff, from Zack Snyder directing his 300 to him being in charge of, what the frick's that movie called? I can't remember it. It's this like black and white noir movie. It's got frickin' Bruce Willis is in it, Jessica Alba and such. You know what it is. You know what I'm talking about, though, just from that description. And it uses colors in certain parts, like yellows or reds and stuff, to kind of have them like kind of visual storytelling, and also to kind of pop out in certain scenes. That I was talking about how that guy, even though he's made some of the worst stuff with Batman, he's still not the worst thing to happen to Batman and Joker somehow. We've had Jared Leto, we had the Joel Schumacher stuff. Even going back to going back to more good stuff. We love the 60s Adam West, like Batman. Freaking, that was more cheesy. There's all sorts of great stories. I love how much you can do with the different characters. And Batman's kind of a relatable character to me. He suffers loss, of course. We've seen his backstory a lot. He has a hard time working with others, but eventually comes around to the Bat family in times. Yeah, he's just a really good developed character, and there's some awesome stories that come from his stuff. I haven't even gotten to stuff with like the Batman who laughs and such, and some cool ass action figures. Like, come on, some awesome shows. I don't know many Batman shows that are bad, honestly. I love the Batman animated series. I love the Batman animated original series, Justice League Unlimited. I love the Gotham series to a certain point. What else? I can't keep up with a lot. If I have one thing to say, I don't necessarily think a lot of the recent Batman stuff is bad. Like, I love the Batman movie, of course, is one more recent movie. A lot of his movies always hit hard. They slap. I do think that movie is a bit long, though, and that the Riddler is wearing kind of a stupid mask over his face, and I would have loved to see his performance more without the mask. But yeah, I absolutely enjoyed most Batman stuff that's out there, and there's so much iconic and awesome stuff to come from Batman. I'm glad. but there are times where Batman has some fumbles here and there, or one of the characters from his universe does. And like, I can't keep up with a lot of the recent comics. You know how many versions there are now of like Batman and his Bat family, or of even his villains. Like right now, I know that Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Penguin, Catwoman all have their own comic book series and stuff going on. And it's just like, I can't keep up with all this. Never mind all the other Batmans or Bat family members that have their own comics. It's just like so much to keep up with. So I have a hard time with dealing that stuff. I think I still have some books here and there from Batman universe that I read, but I stick to a lot of the older and mid stuff. I think if anything, that's probably the point that people have reached with Batman. But there's still a lot of great stuff that comes out of Batman. That's not to say that stuff is awful. Maybe some of it is, as well as, or just mid. I wouldn't doubt that, and we've had great games even. Some bad games, of course, but I love the Arkham series, even the ones that are the least liked Arkham games. I like Arkham Origins and Arkham Knight. I love those games. And yeah, so many cool crossovers, even with Fortnite. I love this stuff with Fortnite, as you can obviously see. And the frickin' comic books that came with them. That was frickin' dope. And Joker is one of my favorite villains. He's just such a mysterious villain. The three Jokers, freaking love all, just like, he has so many important sequences. Even Batman's crossovers, whether it be with the Justice League or Superman, Predator, and then there's Batman and what was the other one? Batman. I have Batman and the Max. That's freaking cool. Yeah, he crosses over with so many characters. Batman and Spawn, you name it. Like Batman TMNT, even to having action figures and a freaking movie. He always has really great movies too. I like animated movies, especially whether he's with the Justice League, or it's a different alternate universe Batman, or it's Batman crossing over with another character series, or anime like Samurai Batman or whatever, Ninja Batman, whatever that was called again. There's so many freaking awesome stories and stuff. And with, once again, coming back to the Joker, the many different interpretations and ways you can write the Joker. Not everything works for him. In the case of Tattoo Joker, a Dragon Tattoo Joker, as well as Jared Leto's interpretation of the Joker, but there are so many great movies that also come out of the Joker too, and a lot of Batman's villains. Once again, one of the best rogues gallery next to Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Batman really go hand in hand as some of the best heroes with the best rogues gallery. If I had to say anybody else next to him, would probably be like Superman, and let's see, who has a great rogues gallery on the Marvel side that's next to Spider-Man. I honestly really like Thor's, but I know people wouldn't choose Thor. But yeah, I would personally choose Thor. I love Thor's rogues gallery for him. His freaking Enchantress, Loki, even some of the side characters in his universe. Silver Surfer's crossed over with him. I know that. There's even a Kratos in his universe. He's a smaller character though. There's the two Wrecking Crew guys. There's Ymir and the Ice Giants, the Dark Elves with Curse. I love Curse. Frickin' Destroyer Armor. Oh man, what is that Dark Elf guy that's got like, he was in the second Thor movie. There's that dude too. I'm forgetting his name right now. I'm kind of Jeff Goldbluming with the ums here and there, you know. But yeah, jeez, I can't avoid doing it. I'm just gonna do it anyways, but I always catch it too. But yeah, I really love the Batman universe. It's just such a great universe with its downsides here and there. But Batman's one of my favorite heroes for good reason. He's had great games, great books, great movies, and more so than anything, I think the good overpowers and overshadows the bad for the most part. You'll have his tough moments, but hopefully, like a lot of studios that have their dark moments, hopefully they get back to the light and make something freaking awesome instead of the same garbage, kind of like what Disney's doing right now. Because excuse me Jeez, didn't expect that. But yeah, like, whoops, I accidentally messed with my freaking mic. But yeah, with freaking and Batman, of course, the Justice League is fighting Godzilla and Kong right now, which is awesome too. But yeah, like, there's all sorts of really cool stuff that came out of Batman. There's a good reason he's overrated. He's had so much great stuff. I agree he's overrated, but for good reasons. So, saying that he's overrated is not only obvious, but I feel like it's an obvious with an added duh. It's kind of like if you were to say to someone, obviously he's overrated, but duh. That's how I feel like that situation would go. And we've had great performances that have won awards for their performances from movies, whether it be Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix, and just some brilliant movies that are held to some of the highest regards, once again, for good reasons. And they do have mistakes, like The Dark Knight obviously has mistakes. I can point some out now. There's, of course, a lot of scenes. There's like a scene where you can see a camera in the one-way mirror in the interrogation room. There's a part where Joker's hand switches from one side to the other, holding Batman's hand or whatever. And then there's, of course, the way Batman lands, the direction he's facing when he hits that van in the beginning. But yeah, obviously there's mistakes like that, but goddamn, the story, the character development, the intrigue, and how everything plays out, and the performances just freaking blow all the problems away. It makes you forget they are there. And there's just so many like deep dives and stuff that have gone into the Batman lore and mythos. Even that movie alone, I would love to one day, though I've seen so many channels take that movie apart and talk a lot of the stuff that I would love to talk about already. So that's why I haven't done a video dissecting my love for why I love the Dark Knight series so much. It's just, I don't know. There's just too much to talk about with the Batman series. Once again, overrated, but for good reason. I know that Angry Joe would say the same, but like, for good reason. And Angry Joe, Superman's had some terrible video games. If they would actually have better writers and stuff for their games or whatever, then maybe we should be getting more Superman stuff. But we haven't had that, and I can't believe some of the hypocrisies. Like, it's not even with Superman, but like Angry Joe's had so many hypocrisies. He's just become the king of hypocrisy or whatever at this point. There's so many videos alone on YouTube calling him out for the hypocrite that he is. Not just by like channels like Nightwatch. There are several channels calling him out, even ones that aren't anything like the Night's Watch channel and such. They are just calling him out on that stuff. I'm calling him out on that stuff, and I'm not like that channel. Yeah, it's just freaking ridiculous. Like, everybody has a video made on them, of course, to blow up and be the rude asshole that can't take that criticism without being able to have your own constructive criticism or actual genuine points of view that actually help to contribute to the situation in a way that's not toxic, but also not making you look like an asshole while still debunking stuff, maybe. But sadly, Angry Joe not only repeats himself, he is a hypocrite in the process, but is also just an angry asshole and contradicting himself and giving himself a bad image on multiple occasions because of it, and then having to backtrack on what he says too. So it's just adding to the embarrassment and ridiculousness and unprofessionalism of it all. And it just sucks to watch. He was like one of my number one YouTuber for the longest time. I love watching him. I used to love his freaking angry reviews and stuff. He would tackle a lot of just ridiculous microtransaction related stuff. And yeah, it just, after seeing the way he's been lately and such, it sucks to watch. I don't know if he's quite that way all the time lately because I haven't watched him in a bit, but still, it sucks. It sucks. And then occasionally I see something that he does that's really stupid. So I don't think he's changed that much, honestly. He's even sided with the very things he sought to destroy in the first place. So it just kind of feels embarrassing, honestly. and it sucks to watch stuff like that. I remember when he was making fun of Fortnite. He has to cover Fortnite so much. I have seen him have Fortnite in a lot of his news videos, and he just can't escape it now. At this point, it's unescapable. And I made that video on Fortnite isn't quite a kids game anymore, or a game that you can just call a kids game. Not only have you seen adults play it, but also has a lot of adult-related stuff within it. So even Nine Inch Nails is in the frickin' game now too, which is just ridiculous to think of. And all the different like modes and stuff and everything that's been added to the game since. And then of course there's his kind of hypocritical, because he was, even though it's a joke, you could tell he was being very seriously too at the end game of his frickin' thoughts on the Superman Fortnite crossover, that he hated it and was getting mad seeing Superman's using a gun. No, and it's like, dude, I know you're joking, but at the same time being serious. Did you know that one of the most popular freaking storylines in Superman history that literally had eyes on it, the death of Superman, which eventually led to the reign of the Supermen, had him wielding coming back to life and wielding guns eventually. He looked like a long-haired version of a Punisher Superman. And he had to rely on using guns because his powers weren't fully restored. You hypocritical idiot. How could you frickin' forget that? Yet you go over and complain about the Superman v Batman thing, saying Doomsday isn't supposed to happen this fast, the battle between those two, he shouldn't be dying, and while I agree with that, you're still a hypocrite after the Fortnite comments. Now it makes that video look outdated and stupid and hypocritical once again. Do you understand what hypocrite even means? It feels like you don't, or that you're blind in the moment of knowing. It just feels so stupid and hypocritical on multiple levels. You know that one Christopher Nolan movie called Inception? I feel like there's a version of that, but with hypocrisy with you. I can't believe I had to rant about Angry Joe in this whole thing, but it kind of plays a part because I've even seen Angry Joe rant about Batman in the same way that I've seen this video. Not exactly the same, but he's a big part that definitely pisses me off at that. And it's like, he's known for good reason. Look at some of the awesome stuff that came out for him, and you can tell, why wouldn't he be? He makes the frickin' Hollywood money and great stuff, so they're gonna keep doing it probably. That's another thing that contribute to it. It does mean that other heroes and stuff don't get the spotlight as much, but I'm glad that some are at least finally getting it. I think that stuff like ElfQuest needed some spotlight. I hear Elric is potentially getting its own series. There's also the Max. I'm glad that stuff is finally getting the attention it needs. But still, Batman deserves its place in history, comic book history, movie history, TV show history, whatever. He is overrated, yes, but duh, for good reasons. Just as explained, and I'm sure there's many more. I'm sure there's a bunch of bad reasons too, but I think the good outweighs the bad, obviously. And even if it doesn't, it's pretty goddamn powerful and influential in some awesome, amazing ways. So, there you go. Shut the frick up. But tell me what you think, what your points of view are. What's your favorite superhero even? If I had to say, like, I love Superman. I do love Superman. He's got a great rogues gallery. But I think I love, like, Dean Cain, Christopher Reeves era type of Superman. Where Superman's just become really overpowered in a lot of ways. I just don't find him as relatable or interesting when they're overpowered. Even though there are overpowered characters that are just really interesting. Like, I love some of the frickin', like, take for example the mysterious creatures within the Lovecraftian universe. Some of the most powerful beings in that universe. Or even other creatures like the one, or beings like the one above all and such in the Marvel universe. They're so interesting and mysterious and powerful, even beyond most characters in every comic book or just pop cultural fiction universe. and they're just really interesting. Superman's kind of just that mid kind of character. He has great stuff. Freaking love some of his shows. I loved the animated Superman. I love him in Justice League Unlimited. I jumped on board with Superman when he was coming out because I do love Superman. I wasn't a big fan of Man of Steel. I don't hate that movie. It's kind of like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7. I don't think it's as good as he makes it out, Angry Joe, because I feel like that's ridiculous. It's clearly not that great. I have a lot of problems with that movie. I actually think overpower even the Dark Knight's problems, in my opinion. Like, most of my problems with the Dark Knight is some of its script, the last second villain, and then maybe the length. That's about it that I can really point out as my major problems with it. As well as, they are redoing the same story of the first movie, Batman Begins, but I still love it nonetheless, because I think the performances are awesome. I freaking love Batman, Catwoman. There's some great jokes. There is really good writing as well, paired with some of the bad writing. And Bane is freaking fun as hell, and I love the 2 battles with him between Batman and him. It's freaking awesome. Yeah, and I do love Catwoman too. She is a mixed bag for some people, but she's still cool. And it's just a really fun movie. It's got its moments where it drags, but I have a lot of fun. Superman frickin' dragged a lot. At least with Batman, you had a lot of fun from the beginning, then it dragged a little through the middle, with some interesting parts here and there, because you're still entertained by, like, Commissioner Gordon and Morgan Freeman's character, Lucius Fox, and such. You're still entertained by them and wanting to see Batman climb his way out of that hole, as well as Bane's here and there, and Cillian Murphy has a part. Like, really, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's really the only character that has some of the worst stuff to point out. And I love Catwoman as well. She has some decent parts. Trying to see her try to escape and such. Just how ridiculous she is. And then, of course, it gets right back to the cool action and characters like that Chief of Police even having an arc by the end, which is cool. And that final awesome battle. Even though Bane does go out like a bitch. Such an entertaining character nonetheless. I love his voice. People love mimicking most of the Batman characters' voices. I've seen people mimic frickin' Batman's, Christian Bale's voice, Bane's voice, Joker's voice, you name it. They're frickin' awesome. And then there's the Man of Steel, which just, not only are they retelling basically the same story but in a darker, different way, but also, like, Superman's making some weird decisions, saving people and showing his powers. Well, I don't know if he's using his name, though, or a different alias during that, but still, people probably recognize him. And then there's just, like, I don't think the actors chosen for the parts were very great. I'm not a big fan of Russell Crowe, honestly. I think the only actor that's really fun and brings that Bane energy that I love the Tom Hardy Bane for is really General Zod's actor. Love him. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's really fun. And I do love the Superman suit. I don't think Henry Cavill looks like Superman to me, honestly. And the suit's probably a bit too dark, even though it's going for that. And Christopher Nolan does play, like, I think he's a producer on that movie. But you can tell there's a lot of Zack Snyder isms in it. There's a lot of plot holes. The movie drags, doing the same story we've already seen with some stupid stuff going on, like his father letting himself get sucked up in a tornado. That's really silly looking. There's so many ways he could have saved him without really giving away his powers or whatever. Or that the father could have just gotten out of that situation himself. It's just so dumb. Maybe not getting out himself, but I know Superman could have found many ways of getting him out of there. But yeah, it's freaking weird in the way that them thinking that I hate movies that are so pretentious and think they're saying something deeper than they actually are. Like, I get so much of that when I watch Man of Steel, and it's freaking ridiculous. Of course, there is some of that stuff in Christopher Nolan movies, but I feel like the approach to it and the characters are able to kind of shy you away from that, where in Man of Steel's case, because it's Zack Snyder and his writing team, or whatever. It's just like, it's way more obvious. It's freaking ridiculous. And it doesn't help the fact that if you argued Christopher Nolan movies are like that, guess what? Christopher Nolan is part of that movie too. So you're just a hypocrite if you bring that up. But yeah, and then there's just so many ways they could have gone. Everybody's talked about the neck break scene, and then people always forget the one plot hole with that movie where it's like Superman and his freaking girlfriend Lois Lane have helped to kill pretty much all the other Kryptonians. He couldn't have tried to save one of them instead of Zod. Zod was really the one that was the most dangerous part and dedicated to killing them all than anybody else. You could have at least helped one of the others or found a way to put them in prison. I don't know. But no, you had to go with what it did and try to be deep with it. When, once again, there were so many ways out of that. It's so freaking ridiculous. Matter of fact, Shazam movie even went out of its way to show what the Man of Steel movie could have done, where he brought the villain from his movie out of the city in the first movie we talked about. He did go to an amusement park, but still less civilian casualties. He brought him to a part where he wasn't going to hurt as many people, and it was just so ironic to what Superman kind of done. Even though I know the purpose, and he does technically kill people or get people killed, and then they think they have that clever tie-in story with them like trying to bring him to court and stuff for the deaths that he caused and the reasons Batman is angry at him and all that crap. It's just dumb and gave us some of the worst movies. Thanks, Man of Steel. Frick you. It's like that aftermath of that movie and just how frickin' like slow it dragged till we finally get to see Superman and all this cool action, which even the action has its problems because you're like, wait, Superman, you could have brought him out of the city, populated city, and not get people killed. Oh, never mind. Okay, fine. Superman, you could have not gotten other Kryptonians killed in the process. Okay, fine. Never mind. It's just like so many stupid things that you're thinking of. And it's the only movie my friend Josh, who has a hard time hating on movies, and it's the only movie he falls asleep. It can fall asleep during. He's freaking bored by it and does not like it. I would even rather watch Superman 3 and 4 over Man of Steel. Just because they got that like Batman and Robin / Batman Forever thing where they're so bad they're almost hilariously funny. They got really bad parts too that you genuinely hate, but there's also really funny things too that make me at least entertained in a goofy way. Even Supergirl has that. Like, frick's sake, the movie, not the show. I don't know about the show. There's some good seasons of Supergirl, but still, there's some cringe too. Just sucks Superman gets some just terrible stuff. There's so many bad games. Like, it's just bad as covered. Even games I didn't know existed that Superman had. Never mind the Superman Returns game and stuff, and the frickin' Superman 64, which is frickin' notorious as hell. Yeah, it's just frickin' ridiculous. It sucks. I love Superman, but yeah, it sucks that we don't always get a great thing. It seems like Hollywood and the game industry just don't know how to approach Superman, where they do know how to approach Batman, or they just got that right thing for Batman that works with Batman Arkham Asylum, and then they could run with a great series and great writing with that. And we've had some of the greatest actors and performances as well. Never mind Kevin Conroy and frickin' Mark Hamill. They're frickin' awesome. They're legendary. And it's sad that one's retiring, the other one passed away. So now we even have more eyes on Batman because of that. So, yeah. There's a reason Batman is overrated. But that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, if you did enjoy this or find something interesting or whatever, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below, and I will see you next time. I'm sorry this video went on as long as it did, and I kind of got off topic, but tried to tie it in once again. But yeah. Sorry for that, nonetheless. I hope you have an awesome day. And I do hope that, like, Angry Joe sees from his mistakes whether he believes he has them or not. I mean, I'm still going to diss those mistakes because they're mistakes that I don't feel like he's fully owned up to at times, or he probably still believes certain things are the way they are from his point of view. So yeah, I'm going to diss and joke about that stuff nonetheless. Why wouldn't I? So Yeah, but I hope he would learn from those mistakes once again, be a better person because of them. So I will see you on the next video. Bye.